Hey, Money Mike here. Quick question. Do you earn more than you used to but somehow feel less free? That is not just in your head. It is a money trap hiding inside your own paycheck. Today we pull it apart and find the way out. Let's get into it. Almost 400 years ago, in Holland, an entire country lost its mind over flowers. Tulips had just arrived from the east, and the rarest ones became the ultimate symbol of wealth. So people started trading them, and the prices began to climb. Then they began to fly. At the peak, one rare bulb could sell for more than a fine house on an Amsterdam canal. Ordinary people quit their jobs to trade flowers. Nobody wanted to be the one who missed the easy money. Then one morning, at a routine sale, there were simply no buyers left, and the whole spell broke. Within days, the bulbs were nearly worthless. Fortunes built over months vanished in a single week. And this was not some one-time madness. You have watched newer versions of it in your own lifetime. A stock, a coin, a house that could only ever go up. Different decade, different flower, same exact fever. Now, you would never bet your house on a flower, but you are wired to do the same thing with your money. This is herd behavior, and today I will show you why it makes you buy high and sell low. First, why you follow the crowd at all. For almost all of human history, the group was safety. Being alone was how you got killed. So your brain learned one simple rule. If everyone starts running, you run first and ask questions later. You did not need to actually see the lion. You just needed to see the crowd move. That instinct kept your ancestors alive, and it is still running quietly inside you today. But now it does not point at lions. Now it points straight at your money. When you see a crowd piling into something, that ancient alarm reads it as safety in numbers. Researchers once had a few people stop on a busy street and just stare up at an empty sky. The bigger that little group grew, the more total strangers stopped and looked up too, at absolutely nothing. Following the herd just feels correct. It feels careful. It feels like the responsible thing to do. Then the crowd hands you proof. When everyone around you is making money on something, it slowly stops looking like a gamble. It starts to look like a fact, like free money that only a fool would walk right past. Your coworker doubled his money. A stranger online quit his job. Your brother-in-law will not stop talking about it. Every one of those stories is social proof, and your brain quietly treats proof as permission. And today that proof never sleeps. Your phone is a non-stop feed of other people winning without you. You never see the ones who quietly lost. You only see the winners, so the crowd always looks smarter than it is. Underneath it all sits one sharp feeling, the fear of being the only one left behind. That is the fear of missing out. Most people just call it FOMO, and it is louder than almost any number. You can feel it right in your chest. A restless, itchy urgency, like a door is closing and you have to move now. It never asks whether this is a good investment. It only asks how you will feel if it works without you. Here is where the herd starts to cost you. By the time a crowd is loud enough for you to hear it, the easy gains are already gone. The price has already climbed. The early people are already quietly sitting on their profit. And a story always shows up to explain the price. This time is different. This one changes everything. That story is not really analysis. It is permission. It exists to make chasing the crowd feel like careful thinking. But you do not feel late. You feel like you finally see the obvious thing everyone else already saw. So you buy, right near the top, when it feels the safest because the crowd is at its biggest. And your buying nudges the price a little higher, which pulls in the next nervous buyer, who pulls in the next. That is the cruel timing of the herd. It is most confident at the exact moment it is most wrong. The top is not the top because a bell rings. It is the top because the last excited buyer finally jumped in. And a lot of the time, that last buyer, arriving late and completely sure, is you. Then the mood turns, and so do you. The price stops climbing, it wobbles, then it starts to fall and the crowd starts to run. Now that same herd instinct flips. Everyone is selling, so every sell in you screams to sell too. And the story flips right along with the price. This time is different quietly becomes, this thing is going to zero. Watching your money shrink is a real, physical pain. Your brain treats it like a threat to your life. So you sell, not because you calmly decided to, because you could not stand the feeling one more day. There is even a name for that final wave of selling: capitulation, the moment the last hopeful holder gives up. And you sell near the bottom, when it feels the most dangerous because everyone around you is panicking. It is the perfect mirror of the top. Maximum fear, maximum selling, right at the point of maximum opportunity. Put the two halves together and you get the whole trap. You bought high on hope and sold low on fear. The crowd talked you into both ends of the mistake, and it felt completely reasonable the entire time. But here is what the crowd never tells you. You follow the herd because you assume it knows something that you do not. It usually does not. The crowd is just thousands of people, each one copying the person right next to them. Almost nobody in it actually did the homework. They are all watching each other for a signal to move. And do not assume the confident experts on the screen are any different. Most of them are guessing too. If they truly knew where the crowd was headed next, they would be quietly rich, not loudly on television. It is a giant room full of people staring at each other, all waiting for somebody else to know what to do. There is no wise driver at the front. The herd is not smart. It is just large and it is loud. That is why crowds swing so hard. A little fear or greed jumps person to person until it becomes a stampede. Every mania in history looked obvious and unstoppable from the inside, right up until the morning it suddenly did not. When you copy the crowd, you are not copying knowledge. You are copying other people's guesses and their panic. Let me put a real number on what this quietly costs you. For years, researchers have compared two things: how an investment performed and how its investors actually did. And the investors almost always do worse than the very thing they invested in. Same fund, same years, but the people earned noticeably less than the fund itself returned. How is that even possible? Because they did not simply sit still and hold on. They bought in after it had already jumped and sold out after it had already dropped. And it is not one big dramatic blunder. It is the same small mistake made over and over every time the crowd moves. That difference has a name. It is often called the behavior gap, and it can cost you a big share of your returns. Worse, every dollar you yank out at the bottom is a dollar that never gets to grow back with the recovery. The market did its job. The herd is what reached into the account and took a chunk of the money back out. So how do you stop running with the herd? You cannot delete the instinct. It is far too old and too deep, but you can build around it. First, make your good decisions in advance while you are calm. Then automate them so the crowd never gets a vote. Money that invests itself every month cannot be scared out of the market by one bad week of headlines. Second, write down a simple plan and read it on the ugly days. A plan on paper is louder than a panicking crowd. Third, zoom out. Look at decades, not days. Over a long enough window, most of the scary crashes shrink into small bumps. Fourth, treat that hot rush of FOMO as a warning light and not as a green light. When something feels like guaranteed easy money that you must grab right now, that urgency is the crowd talking. Slow down. Turn down the noise on purpose. You do not need a live price feed screaming numbers at you every single hour. And make your peace with being a little boring. The quiet, steady investor usually beats the excited one over a lifetime. Above all, quietly remember the tulips. When it feels like everyone is getting rich and it cannot possibly fail, that is usually the top. You do not need to outsmart the herd. You just need to stop letting it press your buttons. The whole game is refusing to buy on other people's hope and refusing to sell on other people's fear. So here is the whole idea. The crowd is not wise. It is just a mirror of everyone's hope and fear. Follow it, and you will keep buying at the top and selling at the bottom, sure that you are being careful. Every mania is the same simple shape. A story, a crowd, a rush in and a scramble back out. Your real edge is not being smarter than the crowd. It is being calmer than the crowd. You beat the herd not with some genius prediction, but with a calm, boring plan you simply refuse to abandon. If this changed how you see the next big craze, subscribe. We fix the way you think about money, one trap at a time. I am Money Mike. I will see you in the next one.